too much champagne. Hey, folks. Welcome to my podcast. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by White Glove Carpet Cleaning. In the average home, up to 5 pounds of dirt can collect under carpeting every year. And viruses like the norovirus can survive in your carpeting for up to a month. Dust, pollen, viruses, mold, and even pests such as dust mites thrive in uncleaned carpet and upholstery. White Glove Carpet Cleaning is a Davis County family-owned company that has been solving all of these issues for over 25 years, from generation to generation. From homeowner to business person, White Glove provides professional steam cleaning to carpets, tile, upholstery, and vehicles with the utmost care and intricacy. White Glove is your 24/7 contact for flood and mold emergencies and never lets a detail pass them. Through the fall season, White Glove is offering an incredible deal, which includes 3 bedrooms and a hallway for just $99. That's 4 areas for under $100 to fight the residue that collects in everybody's carpet. Text White Glove at 801-425-4618 to schedule an appointment and give your carpet the White Glove treatment it deserves. That's 801-425-4618. 801-425-4618. Oh, man. Isn't that freaking sick? That lick? I don't know why anybody would use anything besides GarageBand if you have it. That was me. I did all of that. I just did all of that for this episode. Just for this episode. I recorded 2 guitars, a bass, and some fake drums for just this episode. All on GarageBand. Everywhere online is telling me to buy all of this expensive software, recording software for the podcast. Or when I was in high school, I bought like a $150 software to record songs as a 16-year-old. and granted, we did, me and my high school buddies, we recorded some dope shit on that software. But why would But now that I have GarageBand, I didn't have GarageBand then. Why? If I've got it, I've got it now. It works it's just so smooth. I guess I'm so confused why. When I was at Guitar Center buying all of this stuff, the guy told me to go buy the Logic software, recording software, because it was one of the best softwares, kind of software that he used. And I'm not gonna. Whoa. Yeah, I definitely had too much champagne. I'm not going to say that the Guitar Center guy doesn't know better than me, but I will say that I am satisfied with GarageBand. That was awesome. I just did that in like an hour. There it is. Oh, yeah. And I feel way better about my setup today. I've got I stole a table from my mom's, and I set it up in this extra bedroom with my table, with my laptop, and I have my audio box right next to me. But my audio box, I think my audio box broke after last week. Well, as a matter of fact, I think it was already broken, because as I go back and listen to that demo that I made, it was kind of like there was like a hum, like a high-pitched hum in the background, and you could hear it. Well, it was annoying. And I noticed it after I posted the episode, but I don't hear the hum now. So I think what I did was, well, I none of this equipment is, none of the audio box isn't mine. It's Cooper's. It's my brother Cooper's. I stole it. Coop, I stole your audio box because you bought one when I already had one, and then you never used yours, and then mine broke. So now I stole yours, and I'm going to use yours because I don't hear a hum. I don't hear a hum in my feedback. Yeah, it's way better with no hum. And I could sit down. I had a glass. Well, I had almost a whole bottle of champagne, and I could sit down. I could put my arms. I could fucking put my elbows on the table like this, and if somebody was sitting across the table from me, they would see that I'm into this. I'm doing this for real. I'm not standing at my dresser like last time. I've got my notes on my phone right here, but I've got it on airplane mode, so I don't get any. I don't get any beeps, so I don't send any planes into the ground from my signal because that's what happens when you leave your phone when you do. Hey, I've never once put my phone on airplane mode when I was on a plane. Never once. And I know I'm not the only one. I've never once put my phone on airplane mode. I know that I should because it's on every phone, and I know that interference is a real thing, but I've never put my phone on airplane mode, and I've never had a problem. Well, I've never been on a plane crash, and I've never had somebody come over the intercom when I'm on a plane say, "Hey, everybody needs there's someone on this plane that doesn't have their phone on airplane mode, and we need you to put your phone on airplane." I've never had that happen. I've never had a problem. But right now, this is more important than any flight that I've ever taken. This podcast is more important than any flight in my life on any airplane, and all of the lives that are also on those airplanes, because I don't want any interference for this podcast. And God damn it, if I get any interference or hums on this podcast. Oh, and just as I say that, I can hear a goddamn truck with this roaring engine. Okay. I'm not going to let it get to me. I hope that nobody can hear. I hope nobody gets that. Nobody gets the interference. But I feel way better today, and I feel a lot more comfortable, and I think all has to do with Cook's California Champagne. The Brut. I think it's called Cook's California Champagne Brut. BRUT. I don't actually know what champagne is. Cook's wine is grapes. Our Brut combines crisp fruit flavors of apple and pear with toasty yeast notes. Yeast, you know? How appetizing does yeast? Well, it's delicious, and I drank a whole, probably half a bottle. Oh, it was so good. Okay. Well, we're already 8 minutes into this bitch, and I want to take more time today going over the things, some of the things that I want to talk more about myself, because that's what I'm definitely best at. I'm definitely best at talking about myself. There's no doubt about it. I made a few more notes, and I've taken a little bit more time to think about some of the questions that I've received to cover today. And I want to just take a little bit more time. I want to spend, I don't know how long I want each episode to be. I don't know if I really care. Probably, 30 minutes to an hour, maybe an hour and a half, that's about all the time that I can probably stand by myself anyway. But if I don't know, if I have some awesome plans for guests and friends to talk about specific topics, and we go from there for sure, and maybe spend 2 hours talking about something with somebody else. Who wants to hear this? If you can, 9 minutes and 43 seconds in is definitely the longest 9 minutes and 43 seconds you've spent listening to my voice. I bet it's way better with somebody else, but I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out when that happens. So, here I go. So I'm going to talk about myself. I had somebody ask me about my. I said something last week about my upbringing. I said something about how I've had an easy upbringing, and someone said, "Well, growing up in the Mormon Church, uh, I would I would say that's not the easiest upbringing. A lot of people think it's a hard upbringing growing up in the Mormon Church, and I guess that's true. I should clarify myself. I don't know. I think I just kind of nervously spoke that. I don't think I've had an easy upbringing or a hard one. I think I've had a unique one for sure, and so I want to explain a little bit more about who I am, where I've come from, and why I'm at where I am at today. So I was born in '96, and I'm the oldest of the four boys, and I grew up with Mormon parents, and both have all Mormon families. So I was raised as a Mormon from the get-go. And I think from that point I probably had a relatively similar life to most people. My parents were poor. My mom was 20. Well, she was married at 20, 19 or 20, had me right after. My dad served a mission in Santiago, Chile, right out of high school when he was 19. He came home when he was 21. Yeah, so my mom must have been 20, and then they had me a year later. And they got married in the temple, and I was and then I was born in 96. I had twin brothers born in 98. And my youngest brother, Cannon, was born in, would it be 2006 if he's 15? Or 2004? 2004 if he's 15 now. So, I guess, I don't know who's listening to this. It's not Mormon, but to grow up in a Mormon family means going to church on Sundays. It used to be 3 hours. Now it's 2 hours. You'd get 1 hour. It used to be 1 hour at Sunday school, 1 hour sacrament meeting, which is like a communion, and 1 hour of, I guess it's like you separate into classes by gender. So for the men, you had priesthood meetings, and for the women, you have Relief Society meetings. But when you're young, you are screaming and crying the whole time. And your parents, well, I guess when you're an adult, some people are screaming and crying the whole time too. So it's pretty much the same. But growing up, that was your Sundays. There's a lot of, well, I don't remember a whole lot of scripture study at home, prayers at home. We certainly tried a lot of times. But what happened as I grew up was my parents, my mom and her family have always been very strong Mormons, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or just the church. And I think my mom follows suit with her family, and to this day is still a practicing Mormon. And my dad has left, and but he went on a mission. He's grown up, and most of his family, well, I think all of his family at the time were strong Mormons. Now, a few of his siblings have left. He's left, and so things are a lot different now. So, without going so into depth about my parents and their religious backgrounds, I guess, unless somebody wants to hear about it, I don't know what good it would do. But I don't know how they'd feel about it. But my dad was kind of in and out of the church. Well, not really even in and out. He tells me he was that he has always felt conflicted with the church, and was more a part of it because he was like a pressure from my mom, from his family, to be in the church. But he was never deceitful. I don't think. He was just a part of the church for his family. He did it for his family and for me, for his kids. But over time, he started to learn about, the kind of person that he was and the things that he wanted out of his life. And they contradicted the church. They contradicted my mom. And there was a lot of tension in my home growing up. Probably, when I maybe was 6 or 7, I remember my parents splitting up for the first time. It was a confusing time for a young kid. And I remember thinking not knowing what it was about. I thought my dad was sick, like he had the flu or something, and so he had to move because he had to get out of the house and didn't want to get us sick. That was what was going on in my head. So obviously I wasn't very mature enough to understand a lot of everything that was happening inside their marriage. But time went on, and my parents were together and separated for several years until high school. And I was a sophomore in high school when my parents split up for the last time and their divorce. I actually don't remember if it was right, if their divorce was immediate or if it took some time. But I remember being a sophomore in high school and their final separation took place. And so a sophomore, I was 15, a 15-year-old, and I was mortified. But I was definitely, I had been, like, I don't want to say prepared, but I was in my head for years. I had told myself that mom and dad are not doing well. Something's wrong with mom and dad, and they're probably going to divorce eventually. So I wasn't prepared for it. It was still a really difficult thing to figure out, but I definitely just thought it was going to happen. I would walk to my friend's house, and as an ignorant kid would think, wow, I'm going to be that kid that's going to tell all of his friends that his parents are divorced, and I'm going to get all this attention because my parents are divorced. But it actually it's not worth the attention. By the way, it's not worth the attention. But it happened, and I remember having those thoughts growing up. And as everything was happening, I tended to lean towards my mom and custody was, I stayed with my mom, and we were supposed to visit dad on weekends, and it was like every other Tuesday. I think that's something like that. That was the structure. And the problem for me growing up was I lived with mom. Mom went to church. I was raised in the church. My whole life up to that point the church was central. Again, for people who may not, I don't know who's listening who it doesn't know, but the church, I'm referring to the Mormon church, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But in Utah, it's the church because it's the only church. It's the only one that matters. So it's the church. But that's the culture. So I'm just going to refer to it as the church. So I was in the church, and my dad was leaving the church. So to me, my dad was an evil person. Admittedly, my parents had both done some pretty fucked up things in their relationship to each other. And me and my brother saw a lot of it, and to me, all of the bad energy was directed towards my dad. My mom, it was just, I guess it's just how my teenage brain worked, or maybe my insecurities. I felt guilty for my mom because it looked like my mom was the one getting hurt. My mom was getting hurt the most, so I tended to back my mom. No consideration for my dad, but my mom was the one that was hurt. I had grown up in the church, so I stuck with my mom. I stuck with the church, and I basically disowned. Well, I can't disown my dad, but I kicked him out of my life basically. So for custody things, I fought him for custody. I fought him against the custody stuff. I did not want to see him or be a part of his new lifestyle, the things that, and it wasn't like my dad's he wasn't even a horrible person then to his kids. It was just so different. I was talking to him about it the other day. We would come home. I'd come home from hanging out with my friends, or he would have friends, be doing something at the house, and I'd find alcohol in the fridge or in a pantry, and I was so afraid. It was so scary to see alcohol in the house. It was so scary. So I'd take a 6-pack, or I'd take his Jaeger and take it outside and put it in a flower pot, and I'd bury it under the flower pot. I would pull the plants up and put the drinks under the flower and hide it, because I was terrified of it. And I did not want it to be a part of his life or my life. That was my mentality. I was so afraid of it. And I remember he said something had broke downstairs, and he came downstairs and says, "Oh my God, I can't believe blah blah blah." But I remember him saying that and feeling like his world is crumbling, and now so is mine, because he's brought this awful attitude into my life. That was my attitude. It was, and now I look back and I'm really kind of embarrassed, but I also understand I was a 15, 16, 17-year-old that was raised one certain way or understood a lot of these things in just one way. So it was very challenging. It was for me, and I didn't want that at the time. I didn't want any of that to be a part of my life. I was afraid of it. I was afraid of him, and I stuck with my mom. So I stuck with my mom through high school, and then I eventually left for a mission, an LDS mission, which is church service, for 2 years. You're usually assigned. Wow, too much champagne for sure. I got the champagne burps now. I left for 2 years for California, for Roseville, California, and I spoke English, but I had a lot of friends go to a lot of foreign countries, like Paris and Honduras, and all over the world, speaking a bunch of different languages. But I was happy to be in California, because it was pretty much like home. For a lot of the circumstances my friends were going through, I was pretty glad to be in California. I didn't have it easy by any means. I could talk about my mission experience too. Totally, go more into depth about my experience as a missionary and what I felt then and how I feel now. I definitely think that's worth mentioning, but I didn't make a point to talk about it now. I'm just talking more about my upbringing. So if that interests you, then you've got to let me know, because I'd love to focus on it. If you've got questions about anything about... Okay, now here's the deal. I got to make this very clear. I think a lot of people, a lot of my friends who are Mormon, or maybe, a lot of my friends are afraid to talk to me about me, about who I am. I've received a few comments from a lot of people about, "Oh, dude, I listened to your first podcast and it's awesome, and I've really wondered about why you've left the church and where you stand now." And I love to talk about that. I love to talk about where I'm at and what I believe. It's because it's me. And like I said, I'm so good about talking about myself. So good at it. So I'll always talk about it. But I don't want anybody to be afraid of asking me about me or what I believe. For a lot of people that are close to me, they already know that I'm pretty dramatic, and I'm very obnoxious and probably a little bit full of myself. But I'm at a point now where I'm really confident about what I believe and the path that I'm on and the decisions that I make. So I love talking about them. And explaining myself, especially because I think I have a lot of untraditional beliefs, untraditional not practices, but maybe I have a lot more of an open mind than most people that I know. Most of my friends, most of my family. I love feeling different. I love being not being conservative. I really do. I maybe it's just because I like the attention. I have no idea, but I really like um I really like where I'm at in my life, and I love talking about it. So if you ever have a question for me about why I do something this way, or why I believe what I believe, or why I'm at where I'm at, and not like I have all the answers for anybody, but I know that I'm really confident in the decision. I guess what I'm saying is I'm really confident in the decisions that I'm making now. So I'd love to talk about them. Now, going back, ask me any questions about my mission, about my service in California. I'd love to talk about it. I had a really good experience out there, and I made a lot of really good and a lot of really bad memories. So, and I do believe that the experience I had out there has shaped me to be the person that I am today. It was awesome. It was great. I would never, ever, ever, ever do it again. And I don't know if I would suggest it to anybody who's preparing to go on a mission. I think there's a lot of awesome opportunities that are like serving a mission for a church, but could be better for a person because of some of the rules, some of the restrictions that the Mormon church has for its missionaries. Anyway, I'd love to talk more about that for anybody who's interested. So I go on a 2-year service. I leave in 2014. I come home in 2016, and I am a pretty devout Mormon at this time. But I had some experience over my mission where it's probably just growing up and a little bit of maturity, where I learned to love my dad for the person that he is, not just because of the decisions that he's making or because of the decisions he made. I learned that I can love him and I can have a relationship with him based on his good merits, and the fact that if he is a good person and he's a good dad, then I have no reason not to have him involved in my life. So plus I really never had a reason initially to completely disavow him. He made a lot of mistakes. My mom made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes on handling my relationship with both of my parents. But now we've all come full circle. I've got a great relationship with both of my parents. So I can talk about my past confidently because I'm not worried about. I'm secure in my position with my relationship with both of them now. So I had a change of heart while I was gone. I decided to basically establish a mature relationship with my dad. And lo and behold, learned that he's actually a really good person, does a lot of really good things, is responsible and intelligent, and really loves his kids. So this came with this came with some problems for my relationship with my mom, because I came home from my mission a devout Mormon, and my mom was still Mormon. My dad was not, and he was more open about it with me, and was not afraid of his position or his beliefs, and learning to be a more open-minded person as a 21-year-old. I came home from my mission. I moved in with my dad. Let's see. I came home. I moved in with my mom initially, but I think I tried spending time at both. So my dad had built a new house in Kaysville. My mom lived in Layton, and I was going back and forth. If I remember right, I was going back and forth because I wanted to spend time with my dad and learn the kind of person that he is. So I was building a relationship with my dad. At the same time, my relationship with my mom was changing, because I was learning that my dad, as a non-Mormon, was a really good person and did a lot of great things. And I was attracted to that. And honestly, I was fascinated because it was one of the first times I'd learned that you can be a non-Mormon and you can be an excellent person. So I kind of clung to my dad. Um, he basically became my mentor, and I was learning his life and how he handled life and dealt with certain situations. And this hurt my mom, passively, well, not passively, but it hurt my mom because I had stopped wearing my garments. I hadn't drank any alcohol, for the first year I was home. I still haven't done any drugs, but I stopped going to church, slowly, not because my dad was telling me to do it, but because I was consumed with this idea that I don't have to. I guess I should say I did definitely believe that to be a good person you had to be a Mormon. You had to do all of the Mormon things. You had to go to church. You had to make covenants, promises, get baptized, take the sacrament, be worthy for all of these things. You got to do everything that all your young men's leader teaches you, your bishop, the stake president, what they say in general conference, all of the prophets and apostles. If you do those things, you're a good person. That was my sincere belief. And anything outside of that were people that I guess were good people, but they were going to hell because they they weren't keeping the commandments. They weren't doing what the church needed the people to do. So I had grown up believing if you weren't doing the things the church was saying, you weren't going to be an overall good person. You were going to have problems. Your life was going to be hard, and things were not going to be easy for you, with your relationships and with your work and all of these things. So as I was learning more about my dad, I learned I can be a good person, and I can experiment with different things that Mormons can't touch, and still do good and still help people and uplift people. So I made it so eventually I stopped wearing my garments, and I slowly stopped going to church. I stopped reading my scriptures, and while I was living with my mom, she started to notice these things, and they would hurt her because she was, well, to be totally fair, it was like I was, not lying to her, but I hadn't lied. I don't know. I guess I don't know what the word is. It was a shock to her. It was a surprise. I was a returned missionary. I had served for 2 years. I was committed to the church. I'd shown that, where my priorities were, and they started to change, and they were going in the direction that my dad went, and that was the same direction that was part of my parents' divorce, hurt my mom, and it started hurting our relationship, and it was a really hard time, but I couldn't back down from my position, because the more and more that the more open my mind became, the more I can't really say I was happier, but I was more excited to be alive and to do different things and to learn. I was definitely more excited to learn. There were so many things that I didn't know about that I was learning, and that was exciting to me and was very attractive. I guess it would be things like, well, first of all, not having to go to church on Sunday, being able to take a day to actually relax. I love that Mormons are like, oh, Sunday's the day of rest, but if any devout Mormon knows, well, I guess it's different now with 2 hours. Now it's down to 2 hours, but Sundays were always so stressful, in my family at least, getting everybody ready for church, getting to church, actually sticking it out, and then coming home and it's taking time to prepare dinner, and it was just a lot more. It was more work on the day that was supposed to be restful. I always thought that was kind of funny, I guess, okay. Anyway, so not going to church was to action and spending time to rest was very attractive, obviously. Alcohol was never something I was initially attracted to. It was something I wanted to observe from a distance, and I did for a year. I'd go to clubs and bars with friends and watch them drink. I'd watch the environment because my whole life I associated alcohol and partying as it was just evil. It was wrong. It brought people down. But I learned that there are definitely people that shouldn't be drinking, and there are definitely people that shouldn't be partying and shouldn't be going out to clubs. But most people that do that are able to do it responsibly and have fun and have good experiences from it. And which was part of the reason that pushed me to experiment with alcohol and to start drinking and start being more obnoxious and rowdy and partying more. And I'm still not like a partier by any means, but I definitely do more. Wow. God damn, Cooks is not fucking letting up, but I see a little bit more in the bottle. God, that's so good. Yeah, I love alcohol now. I love it now. It's delicious. It makes me feel so good. But I still need my agua. Definitely still need my agua. So, I'm taking a lot of time talking about this, but I think it's important. But I'm gonna move on. I'm just gonna move on, and I'm willing to come back to anything else. So my upbringing, I ended up leaving the church on my own accord, my own decision, because I felt happier not going to church than I did going to church. And it had nothing to do with doctrine. It had nothing to do with the organization of the church at the time. I initially stopped going because it felt better not to go. It sincerely felt better not to go to church. And I feel like I can already hear and read responses of people saying I had lost touch with the Holy Ghost, and I a long time ago or in that regard, and I lost touch with God, and I'm missing the point of going to church. It's supposed to be uplifting and inviting good spirits, but I feel I'm getting more in tune with myself and my relationships outside of religion and outside of the church and outside of spirituality. As I take control of my relationships in my life, I am getting in better tune with all of those things. So, again, I would love to talk more about that as well. But I feel better. I'm a happier person now than I ever was as a member of the church. Could be just my maturity. I could just have half a bottle of Cooks inside me, but I sincerely feel like I'm a better person. I'm a happier person. I'm more content and satisfied with my life and the direction that I'm going and the decisions that I make. Because I'm making my decisions. I don't feel like I'm pressured to make good decisions. I'm a good person because I'm a good person. Okay, so I left the church. It hurt my relationship with my mom for a little while, and but then my brothers were coming out and I actually they had Connor came out while I was on my mission, and Cooper came out while I was in Chicago. So like a year and a half ago from now. And that was about the same time that I was starting to be public about not being a member of the church anymore. So my mom, bless her sweet soul, something that she's so passionate about, and something she wanted for her kids so much, we are abandoning. Absolutely, for sure, and there's no easy way around it. That's just the case, and it really is not easy for my mom. I think we all see that. I think we get that. Me and my brothers do. But she's also learning that her relationship with me and my brothers is more important than us being lifelong members of the church, or lifelong members as Mormons. So I think we're in a better place now for sure, and we've had our ups and downs. But we're all figuring it out, and we've still got a lot of work to do and a long way to go until we're all comfortable and we're all satisfied. But for now, our relationships are good, and my relationship with my dad is just as good as it has been. So I couldn't be more grateful for the relation. Honestly, the truth is I couldn't be more grateful for the relationships with my parents. It's more, my relationship with my mom now is way more genuine than it ever has been. Again, I could be just from growing up and being more mature, but I think I could grow up and be mature and lie to my mom about being religious. I could fake it. I could totally fake it. There's so many, I know a lot of people that fake it to satisfy social norms or their family and friends. But I know I'm genuine with my intentions and in my discourse, and I know my mom understands that. So when even though we disagree on a lot of things and our beliefs don't line up, our relationship, I believe that our relationship has never been better. And same with my dad. So I'm really grateful for them, and well, that we are where we are now. That's my upbringing as a Mormon and now as a ex-Mormon. And also, I made a comment about being a post-Mormon and an ex-Mormon, and I probably don't have enough information to accurately talk about those things. So I think maybe my mom explained it to me. Post-Mormons are probably people that identify as members of the church, but have issues with that they might have issues and would like to see change within the church, but are not willing to leave. So they're still Mormon, and ex-Mormons are people that have problems and have left, and maybe they can be bitter or they can be upset. So I don't know. I guess I'm a ex-Mormon. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. But I no longer associate with the church. I still have my name on church records. To me right now, it doesn't really mean anything, but I know a lot of people get their names removed. Maybe I haven't put too much thought into it. But right now I just don't associate with the church. I'm mentally and morally I'm removed. And now I'm 23. Now I clean carpets and with my family and with my dad, and I live in Ogden. And I have an awesome relationship. I have an awesome girlfriend, and I have awesome friends, and I'm in a really happy place. And I've got a lot to learn, and I've got a long way to go until I've got my life figured out. So that's why I wanted to do this podcast. I really want to learn more about other people, other lifestyles, other ways people cope with their situations that are similar to mine, but are also ones that are different. So, and to collaborate, and also to put that information out, so people that are struggling can learn from other people's perspectives without exposing themselves and their vulnerability, but also improve their situation. I think my heart breaks for a lot of people who are struggling with, I don't know if I've ever really experienced something like depression or severe anxiety. I think I've been lucky in those regards. I've been sad, and I've definitely gone through a lot of really hard times and have not coped with difficult times appropriately every time. But I know some people have like crippling depression, and their lives are so difficult, almost to the point where they can't function. And I think, and a lot of those people have the root causes are issues like this, where their parents are divorced, they don't believe in the principles of the LDS Church, but their families do. So, and they don't know how to leave, they don't know how to express themselves, because when you're in the church, when I was in, okay, so post mission, if I had problems with doctrine, I couldn't ever go to my mom or her family or my friends that are Mormon, because not because they wouldn't give me answers or support, but because to me, any answers to doctrine is I don't want to say obvious, but it's well, I guess it's tough for me to say, because I served a mission. I studied it for so long. I studied the doctrine and the principles for so long, so intimately, and I knew all of the basic church answers. I knew all of most of the deep doctrine, and so when I had concerns, when I eventually had concerns about church history and principles and the doctrine, and like it's okay. I'm not making a whole lot of sense, but for me, the answers are always obvious, because I just knew the doctrine so well at one point in my life. But for somebody who doesn't know all of the answers, or isn't so well versed in scriptures or in church principles, and they have sincere questions that maybe that seem contradictory, that are contradicting, whatever. It's difficult to go to church leaders, because the answer most of the time is well, study the church. The church has the answers. Study the church answers, and then that's it. And then you pray to God, and you wait for you get confirmation on your answer, and that's it. And then but it doesn't matter. But really, it doesn't matter what the feelings you have are, because this is the doctrine anyway. So the doctrine is the doctrine. That's the truth. The truth is the truth. The scriptures are the truth. The words of the prophet are the truth. So really, your confirmation doesn't really matter, because if you like, if you have a problem with Joseph Smith, and you want to be a member of the church, you go to church members and say, I've got this question about Joseph Smith. And they say, okay, well, here's the answer. And it may not make a whole lot of sense, but if you pray to God and get a confirmation, then you'll know it's true. But that doesn't mean that it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't there's things that don't make sense. And that was a problem for me for a hot minute coming out of the church. Fortunately, I had support on the other side with my dad, with his new marriage, and with some friends that I have that have left the church before me. And so I didn't have it so difficult, but some people they only have Mormon support and can't find the answers or they can't find satisfying answers. So I can't remember what I was saying before that. But yeah, that was always a big problem for me. Was finding outlets for my not problems, but for questions, and coming out of the church. So I lost track of my train of thought. I'm going to move on. Somebody asked me, did I need to fill my time growing up to avoid the chaos that was going on in my family? Which was prefaced by, I spent a lot of time working with my friends, with social activities, things like that. Did I do that? I think the question is, did I fill my time because my family life sucked? I would say no. I felt like most of the things I did was normal. I was definitely an ignorant and a naive teenager. I felt alone. I felt like I only had my friends, because my parents, I had an unstable relationship with my parents. but I guess I did fill my time a lot with activities at school and with my friends. I spent all my time with my friends, but I think most kids do. I think most kids just want to be with their friends anyway, so I don't really think that's any different. I think my life was chaotic for sure, but I have a hard time thinking I know there were some people that had a harder time than me. So it's hard for me to justify my my family life. My family life was crazy, and it definitely was hard. I think it was way harder for my brothers who they had their own identity crisis. There's a sexual identity crisis, and they had no outlets. As a fucking 12, 13, 14-year-old adolescent boy who does not meet the social expectations for sexuality as a male. I guess it could be for anybody, but for my brothers as males who either were attracted to boys or weren't attracted to girls was I cannot imagine, I cannot fathom how difficult that would be for them because we grow up, and I think because my parents were separated and my mom was the dominant opinion in the house, there was no way to talk about anything that opposed heterosexual relationships. It was impossible, especially as a 12-year-old boy. We weren't raised to believe there was any other option. I think most people are. I think even if you're not Mormon, most people are raised to believe that heterosexuality is just how it goes. I think more people are straight than are not. But I don't think that means we should assume that that's just how things should be. It was so I had it tough for sure. I felt a lot of pressure and responsibility for my mom and for my brothers, but my brothers were I can't. I'm really excited to talk to them. I'm really anxious to hear what they have to say because I cannot imagine the kind of things that they felt growing up. I know that they were more depressed than I was, and I think they were the times that they were the most depressed. I was on my mission, and that's like I said, that was when my brother Connor came out. God, I was like a year into my mission, and I got a call from my mission president. He said, "Kid, I need to. Well, Elder Kelly, I need to talk to you." And it was in a tone where it was a very somber tone, and my first thought was, someone in my family is dead. Someone's died in my family, and he's got to break that news to me. So I was prepared for the worst. And he sat me down. He had definitely set that tone. And he had told me that my mom had called him and told me that my brother had come out as gay. And I felt relief. I was like maybe a year and a half into my mission, and I was starting to kind of come out of this church illusion that I was under. I had met a lot of interesting people on my mission, so I was able to kind of start to understand. Yeah, maybe there are more good people that are not Mormons, or there are people that are not Mormons that are good. So, and it was also comforting because Connor was always different than anybody, any of my friends and any of his friends. My brothers were always unique, so it wasn't a shocker. To me it was a big relief because it was Connor owning. I want to save his story for when I get to talk to him, but that was a really critical point in my life, and God, it makes me I'm gonna cry in a room by myself talking about my brothers. But I'm just glad that my brothers are now at this point where they're openly themselves and have no shame. And okay, I'm gonna move on because I really 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 want to talk more about this with them. I don't want to spoil it. So, I think that's all the Mormon questions that I have that I got. So. I got questions about like my music interests and my video game interests. I just in a nutshell, I have a I don't know how to talk about music because I'm not like an excellent critic or expert. I just have I definitely have my own opinions, and I guess what I'll say is if you want to know more about my music, then follow me on Spotify. I've made some dope playlists. And I usually separate them by times in my life. It was just like time periods. So like I have I have one for each semester while I was going to school in Logan at Utah State. And right now I have a playlist that I've been making for the last 9 months since I've been dating Sarah. And it's my favorite playlist ever. It's got some of my favorite songs of all time. It's a lot of the songs are it's like I think you'd call it indie rock, indie folk rock. I think I love how independent rock, independent has become its own genre. But I don't think that's how it was originally intended. I think indie was more like we are producing our own music. We don't have a label. We're doing this on ourselves. We're indie. We're independent. But now it's a genre. So this playlist now that I have has bands like I think Group Love and Young the Giant dominate the playlist. They definitely dominate the playlist. They've got like they just got they rock so fucking hard. And I like it's not the same rock like Rage Against the Machine or Metallica who make me throw my head harder than I've ever thrown my head before. But it's like it's I don't know, I can't fucking explain it because I am not good at fucking explaining it. But it's music that I feel the most. So I'm looking at my playlist right now, and so songs from Young the Giant like Heat of the Summer, Mind Over Matter, and Anagram. Those are probably my favorite Young the Giant songs. And Group Love, I actually didn't like them initially. I saw them in concert in Colorado. I went out there to see The Head and the Heart a couple years ago, and they opened for The Head and the Heart, and I didn't love them, but then I listened to a few more of their tracks, and now they've like Raspberry by Group Love or Colors, Torso. Yeah, they've got some of my Itching on a Photograph. They've got some of my current favorite songs probably of all time. I think my favorite album of I've told a few people my favorite album of this year is quite possibly Father of the Bride by Vampire Weekend. Oh my God, I still have the Cook's Burps. I've still got the Cook's Burps. I can't get rid of them. I'm so uncomfortable. And guess what? Hey, guess what, everyone? I'm not going to edit anything. I'll turn the volume down a little bit because it looks like I'm peeking just a little bit. But guess what, motherfuckers? I'm not going to edit anything. You're going to get all of this raw burp action. You're going to get all of the Cook's Burps. Okay? This is how it's going to be. I spent an hour making this intro song for you. I spent way too long making an intro song just for this episode. I wrote a whole goddamn ad for my own carpet cleaning business. You're going to deal with me not editing out the fucking Cook's Burps. Okay? That's it. That's the bottom line. I'm an hour into this, and I'm not going to cut any shit out. I'm going to when I'm done, I'm going to hit that fucking space bar. I'm going to close this episode out. I'm going to post it. I'm going to post it live and raw, baby. Because that's how I do. I do live and I do raw. That's it. Live and raw. I'd have to say my favorite album of the year is Father of the Bride by Vampire Weekend. I think I of every single time Vampire Weekend posts an album, I listen to it all the way through, and I think, man, it's not as good. It's not as good as Horchata. It's not as good as all of their earlier songs. I guess they've only posted. I think they only have 4 full studio albums. Let me look it up. Yeah, they've only got four studio albums, but this this Father of the Bride doesn't miss. It doesn't miss. It has a hit after hit. In my opinion, it doesn't miss. It doesn't miss. I listen. There are a few albums where I could put the whole goddamn album on play, on shuffle, and listen to it on repeat and not skip a fucking track. That's Father of the Bride. I think they nailed it. I didn't like it initially, but I think they nailed it. There's not a whole lot of albums like that. So I'd have to say this year, Father of the Bride is my favorite album. I actually didn't even really do a lot of research for music, for songs that influenced me before I started the podcast. I'm definitely winging it right now. But Father of the Bride, I'd say, is number 1 album of the year for me. But some other playlists that I've saved on my Spotify are, I have a Kings of Leon playlist saved. The Head and the Heart. You know what? The Head and the Heart is definitely one of my all-timers because they were one of the first bands where I felt like I was falling in love with another person. I grew up listening to Jack Johnson, Coldplay, John Mayer on repeat. Those were definitely the 3 hottest in my circulation. And I was, my parents listened to them, all of my friends listened to them, so it was like to fit in. It definitely was like a fit in kind of a thing for me. But I love them. There was nothing. I don't have any problem with them. I love them. But I went on my mission, and in my last 3 months, on my mission, I got an iPad. They gave us iPad, or we bought iPads to do all of our missionary work on, and there was no way for the church to block out all of the apps because they controlled the fuck out of these iPads and what the missionaries do. But there was no way for them to get rid of like the iTunes store and GarageBand and things like that. So when you get an iPad, you have like a 3-month trial period on Apple Music. And I saved all of the missionaries when they got their iPads, and you're not supposed, as a missionary, by each mission, the rules are different for what you can listen to. And my mission was one where it was supposed to be just church music that you'd find on LDS.org. But there were a lot of missionaries that had like David Archuleta albums, and oh fuck, I want to remember some other Christian rock bands. I found some Christian rappers too that I listened to a lot. But there were a lot of missionaries too that you would use this 3-month trial period and just listen to regular music. And if you did, you were you were disobedient, and you were not to be associated with as a missionary. So I never used. I did my best to be a good missionary. I never listened to music like that until my last 3 months, and I did the free trial and found the Head and the Heart's first 2 albums. I think their first one was 2010 and their second one was 2013. And I remember going to P Days, and I had this little P Days are preparation days where missionaries get 1 day out of the week to prepare for the rest of the week to proselytize, and then also to exercise and hang out with the other missionaries. But that also differs from mission to mission, and the rules have changed now. I don't even know. I think now missionaries get the full day instead of, we only had a half day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And anyway, that doesn't matter. So I found them that was like the first band I fell in love with and I felt like I was falling in love with a person. So I have a really awesome relationship with the Head and the Heart. Plus, sometimes they like and respond to my tweets when I tweet them, because I definitely tweet at them like I am desperate for attention. Some other playlists I have are Quinn 92. Love Quinn. I've seen him a few times live. I got a lot of his merch. I love hard rock. I have this playlist called Ultimate Rock Themes that has songs from Rage Against the Machine and Limp Bizkit and 311 and Pearl Jam. And when I'm cleaning carpets and I need to just get through a fucking job, I'll play this playlist. And I don't clean carpets better when I'm not listening to this album. This doesn't only get me through the emotional and physical stress that carpets brings, but it makes me excel well beyond anybody's expectations when I'm cleaning carpets. So this album rocks. Like Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine might be my ultimate rock theme. It might be the number one. Yeah, I got a lot of good playlists. I got old playlists. I've got songs. I've never really fallen in love with. Well, that's not true. Most of my friends love rap. Most of my friends love hip hop and rap, and I do too. I have a let's see what I called it. I have a rap album, a hip hop album called New Chance, because Chance the Rapper, before this latest album he dropped, he posted four singles, and I love that kind of upbeat hip hop. I think that's fun. I don't love Chance's new album. I've only listened to it once all the way through, and I was playing video games when I listened to it, so I don't think I gave it a fair chance, but I didn't love it. But I really, 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 really like this album not the album, but the 4 solos that he dropped in 2017. Plus Kanye's Ye. What does he fucking call it? It's Ye. Kanye. It's Kanye. Yeah, Ye was awesome, but his new Christian album is it missed. It just missed. He was a swing and a miss. He's a Christian rapper now. That's all. And we're gonna let him ride this out until he fucking finds the devil again and lay some dope tracks. Because I was not impressed. He had there was one Everything We Need. Everything We Need was awesome, but when he's like, she's my hey, she's my Chick-fil-A. She's closed on Sunday. She's my Chick-fil-A. She's closed on Sunday, or whatever the fuck. Get out. Close. At least close the door. Just fucking close the door and sing about Chick-fil-A being closed and how your girl is being closed on Sunday as well. And just close the door. And you can be closed on Sunday, and also you're closing the door. Just leave it alone. I don't want to hear it anyway. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear more Yay. And yeah, but so I've never really fallen in love with hip hop or rap. I don't have like I love the hits though. I do like the big pop ones, or the big popular ones. Yeah. So I got a playlist. I got some good rap playlists, but that's about my music taste. Like I said, I'm not an excellent music critic, or I'm not saying my taste is the most refined, but I definitely am passionate about the music that I love. When a song that I fuck with comes on, I'll let everybody know. And I definitely love making a scene about it. I love getting in everybody's face and singing songs that I know really, really loud. So I definitely got a passion for music. I play the guitar. If you didn't listen to the first 2 minutes, then go back, and that's me playing the guitar. And I used to play all the time. In high school, I played all the time. And really wanted to be like a John Mayer, because that's what I was listening to the most. And I just get older and I don't make time for it. I still love it. I love picking it up. I loved picking it up. God damn it to the cooks! It tasted so good though. I can't stop burping. Oh, but water is very refreshing. I don't make time for it anymore, but I love to do it still. And my brother Cannon just got a drum set, and he's kicking ass at the drums. So I feel like I owe it to him to pick it back up and get back into it, because he's really, really good. He's figuring it out fast, and he's very talented. And it's way fun jamming with somebody else that's good and passionate about it. So I definitely owe it to him. My video game interest right now is dwindling. It's barely alive. It sucks. I'm struggling in the video game regard. I grew up playing. Again, I have never been like a diehard, all consumed in one video game, or have spent 100% of my time in video games. I've had a pretty broad. I've had a lot of interests, and I've done a lot of different things. I love video games. Growing up, I played Halo with all of my friends. Played Call of Duty. Played GTA. I am at heart. I am a Nintendo guy. And I will be forever. I've had all of the Nintendo consoles. I've had all of the Nintendo games. Well, let's see. I've had all of the Mario games, the Zelda games, probably mostly. So I'm a Nintendo guy at heart, and I am a Mario kid, for sure, before everything else. So, like in 2 days, or maybe it's tomorrow. No, in 2 days, the new Luigi's Mansion comes out, and I couldn't be more excited. I'm more excited for that than I was for this new Call of Duty. As a matter of fact, I was so excited for this new Call of Duty, and I'm still more excited for the Luigi's Mansion. But I don't know anybody else that's a Nintendo guy. None of my friends were Nintendo guys. Everybody had an Xbox or a PlayStation, and they either played Call of Duty or they played like NBA and Madden. And I did not fuck with Madden or NBA. I didn't play the sports games. I just played the shoot 'em up ones and Nintendo. And I'm not upset about it. I love my Nintendo so much. So I'm super excited for the new Luigi's Mansion. I've played for Nintendo, I've played all of my, and by the way, I'm talking about video games because I love video games, and it is definitely a part of my life, just like any other kind of hobby. So if you can't fuck with me playing video games, then this is a perfect time to turn off, but also don't turn off, because I think people need to know that I think some people are like, oh, video games are a waste of time because they don't play video games. That's like me saying playing soccer is a waste of time, because I don't play soccer. I've never played soccer. But just because I don't play it doesn't mean it's not a waste of time, or that it is a waste of time. It's not. Video games is the same. In fact, I think people that are like, oh, video games, they're a waste of time and they're destroying your brain. Television, I have done zero research behind any of this. This is all opinion. Television does more damage for a person than video games ever will. I think video games are stimulating and competitive and challenging, and also they're social they can be very social with your friends and with other people online. Video games will always be better for a person than television, in my opinion. Fight me on it. I fucking dare you to fight me on it. Fight me. Fucking fight me on it. I dare you. So I've always played the Mario games. This Luigi's Mansion I'm so excited for. Mario Odyssey was a mega hit for me for like a year while I was living in Logan. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild is quite possibly the most visually appealing game that I've ever played. And one of the most challenging. It took me like a year and a half to finish it, and I had to use so much help from IGN. So I definitely didn't do it on my own. I definitely still haven't figured out all of the little tricks all of the little in-game secrets that are that most people figure out. I'm not very brilliant, but I loved the game. I fuck with Mario Kart. I fuck with Mario Tennis. Um, I love the Mario games. I love the Mario games, man. They just hit home for me, and they're fun. They're cartoony and they're childish, and that's definitely me. That's definitely me. So I love all of the cartoony, childish, fun games. But I also got an Xbox One. I wish that there was only one major console, so me and my PlayStation friends and my PC friends could all play together. Shout out to all of my PC and my PlayStation friends. I play right now. Let's see. I'm gonna go back 2 years. 2 years ago, changed my interest in video games forever. 2 years ago, Fortnite came out, and who has never heard of Fortnite? I am 100% a Fortnite OG. Season 1 at Landon Strong's house. I think it actually came out before October. I think it came out maybe July, August, September, somewhere over there. But I started at a Halloween party at Landon Strong's house in Logan, and from there the rest is history. Me and all of my friends definitely fell in love with it and stuck with it for a year and a half through 5 or 6 seasons, and then Apex came out, and Apex was another creative and challenging battle royale video game that by the way, the battle royale dynamic is very what's the word? What am I trying to say? I think it's more competitive, and it's also more consuming, because video games like with stories like Call of Duty that have the main stories, and Halo, I guess those are the games that I played the most. You played the game, you put in 50, 40, 50, 60 hours into the story, and then that's it. And then you can keep redoing it because those games are amazing. But Battle Royale is just the new challenge after new challenge after new challenge, because you're playing against real people, well, or bots, but you're playing in a live arena, and you're competing to be the best. And that was always, I guess it was new with Fortnite for me. So I know PUBG did it before, but it was very exciting for me initially. I fell in love with it then. I fell in love with it with Apex. I did not fall in love with it with Black Ops 4, but Black Ops, I didn't even really fall in love with Black Ops 4. I was just so consumed with the Battle Royale in Apex because of, I think it was the cartoony, it was in the kills, and the gameplay was so much more satisfying. The looting was so much more satisfying than Black Ops 4 Battle Royale. So I played both. Fortnite and Apex are definitely the most impactful video games that I've ever played. But right now I'm stressed the fuck out because Apex has run its course for me. They did season 3 and they changed everything with the map. Added a couple new guns, and I don't know why, but once season 3 dropped, I fell so back behind the learning curve. One of the reasons I think I loved Fortnite and Apex so much was because I started both of those games right as they came out. So I had started either close to the middle or ahead of the learning curve, and was always typically a little bit better than everybody else. So I enjoyed it more because I was winning more often. But for some reason, when season 3 in Apex dropped, I lost my advantage. I had fallen I just fell behind the fucking curve, and I can't recover. I can't recover. I don't know what happened. I don't know what changed. I know the map changed and the guns changed, but I just get railed. I get railed. Railed or railed is the real question. Did I get railed or did I get railed? I just sucked. I came back in season 3 and sucked. And then I had hope. I had so much hope for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and I still do. I haven't really sunk in a whole lot of hours yet, but I've stuck with battle royale games for so long that I forgot how frustrating Call of Duty Team Deathmatch, Call of Duty lobbies are. How frustrating they are. Mostly because I've always kind of sucked at them. I've never really been an excellent. I've never been a superstar video game player, but I've always enjoyed it. Maybe that's one reason why I loved these battle royale games so much, is because I needed to do something besides just get destroyed in any Call of Duty lobby or Halo online lobby. So I've only put in like 12 hours in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but I definitely kick ass at gun game with the 2v2. I definitely kick ass there. I can't figure out the team deathmatch and those lobbies. So I've got a lot to figure out, but I guess I'm disappointed because I thought I played the demo a month ago for Modern Warfare and I loved the demo. I definitely was frustrated then with the lobbies because I still was sucking, but I was excited because that was about the time my Apex interest was dying. So I figured this change of pace was going to help, but it hasn't. It hasn't. For the time that I've put in, I still am frustrated with playing the game. Which leads me to my final decision for video games, and that is there is not a single video game competitive. There's not a single online competitive video game available that I have played like Rocket League. Rocket League is everything that I need right now in a video game. It offers the online competitiveness. It's got small games, short games, small lobbies, and I kick ass at Rocket League. I'm not a professional, but I am starting to get a little bit more of a competitive advantage, especially against my friends. I'm taking everybody's money from video games. All of my friends' money. And I will keep taking your money. I don't think you get that. I will keep taking your money. I'm not going to stop taking your money. So, if you want to keep betting against me in Super Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart or Rocket League, then fucking challenge me because I will take your money every time. I will take your money every time. And I love it. I have no problem with it. I have no guilt associated with taking your money. So Rocket League is definitely one of my favorite go-tos right now. But I can't finish this conversation without mentioning games like Red Dead Redemption, for the amount of hours that I've put into Red Dead Redemption and Skyrim. I have never been so invested in anything in my life than I have been with those two video games. I was probably most into Skyrim in high school, right before I went on my mission, and haven't gotten back into it since because of all the other video games that I've been trying to catch up on since. But Red Dead Redemption came out a year ago, and Red Dead Redemption 2, and I became Arthur Morgan. I went and bought Carhartt coat. I wanted to buy boots and a cowboy hat. I was Arthur Morgan. I was thinking like Arthur Morgan, and I was always a good Arthur Morgan. I was a good guy. I was considerate of all of the civilians. I didn't want to hurt anybody else when I was robbing or when I was stealing and killing. I was Arthur Morgan, and so I can relate to that. I can talk more about that because that was more recent than Skyrim. But those two games are definitely some all-time favorites for me. I hope I'm not missing anything. GTA 5 in high school was one of the funnest for me and my friends, for sure. For sure. It was hilarious. I had some of the funnest nights of my life playing GTA 5 in my little cave, in the cave room downstairs in my mom's old house. with all the lights off and the AC blasted to 60 degrees and no windows, no doors. It was just black with GTA 5 and the titties on the screen and my mom coming downstairs and to come check in on us, but there's titties on the screen. But our friends knew that we can't get busted because we want to keep playing GTA 5. But if my mom saw the titties, then she was going to throw the TV at me for sure. The TV would be through my head like a goddamn chair in WWE. For sure, if she saw the titties. And my friends knew this. So they got my back. They fucking got my back. And they covered for me. And they distracted her as I clicked through all of the titties to get them off of the screen from GTA 5. And we kept playing. For sure, some of the funniest memories of my life. So I'm probably missing some video game love. But that's it for right now. I'm an hour 25 minutes into this, and I've still got more to talk about. I'm glad if you're still here. Hey, listen to me. If you're still here with me, then we're doing well. All right. I want to talk more about my colitis, but I don't have much more I can say. I could go into more depth for my story. I guess I could just do that, but I don't it's just gross details. Like, for people who don't know what ulcerative colitis is, and I'm new to this world as of a month or so ago. Ulcerative colitis is a similar inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's, if you're familiar with Crohn's, where Crohn's is a disease where you find ulcers and inflammation in other kind of growths or abnormalities within your digestive tract, anywhere from your mouth to your anus. But ulcerative colitis are just those symptoms found in only the colon. So I have severe inflammation within just my colon, and I've learned this because I was, let's see. Oh, I think I mentioned I lived in Chicago a year ago and did summer sales. I did door-to-door pest control sales. And I got my ass handed to me. So I could talk more about that later, but that happened. Got my ass kicked in Chicago. And I came home. I went to school in Logan. Oh, there's more Cook's champagne for you. I moved to Logan to go to school, and I started seeing blood in my poop, and obviously that's not normal. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me that it was just hemorrhoids, or an anal fissure. And if it persisted, then I should go see a GI doctor. And it persisted for a few months, and my GI doctor told me the same thing. It's probably just hemorrhoids or an anal fissure, but we could do a colonoscopy to diagnose it to see if there's anything going on inside your colon. I pushed it off because I did not want a colonoscopy. I did not want to admit to myself that there was something wrong with me, that there was an underlying problem besides just hemorrhoids or a fissure. So I didn't blow it off. I was responsible. I stayed in touch with my GI doctor whenever I had symptoms because they came and went. But I definitely pushed the colonoscopy off, and time went on, and the blood it came and went, and about a year later, I started losing weight rapidly, and had some severe diarrhea for about 2 weeks, and was so sick. I thought it was just a flu, but it was diarrhea for 2 weeks long. It's not normal. So I ended up getting the colonoscopy, and they took pictures of my colon, took samples, and they showed that they came back with lab results and told me that my colon is inflamed and that I have ulcerative colitis. So as much as I know about ulcerative, and I'll just call it colitis because it's easier than saying ulcerative. But colitis is an autoimmune disease where my immune system is consistently attacking my colon like it's an enemy. I don't know how it happens or why it happens. I don't think anybody does, but it happened one time and now it just happens forever. So my body will always attack my colon and will always it's inflamed because of my immune system, but I think it also is triggered by certain foods and drinks that makes it worse. And I've still got so much to learn about it. I'd love to hear more other people with similar experiences share their stories with me. Maybe I could do a series or a few episodes with people who are going through similar symptoms or questions or worried, or maybe they're starting to see symptoms. Anyway, I'd love to do more discussion about that too, if people are willing to talk about it, because I know talking about bloody poop is not usually what people want to talk about. So my doctor has told me that my solution to this is a better diet, which she says will not fix it, but will help me not feel so crappy all the time, and Humira injections for the rest of my life. And that sucks. I still am not okay with doing Humira injections for whatever side effects that may come, or just knowing that I have to fucking take a shot in my stomach every 2 weeks for the rest of my life. That is just, I'm willing to do it to feel better, but my mental state is not there where I'm okay with it. But that's where I'm at right now with my colitis. Sucks, but I guess it's just life. I know everybody has their shit and deals with different things. So this is my shit. You got to deal with my shit now. I got a couple more questions, but I think I'm gonna wrap this up instead. The last question is what do I want to accomplish in my life? What do I want to accomplish in my life? Well, simply put, I really want to be happy. I just want to be happy, and I want to do things that make me happy, make me feel good. I want to make other people feel good. I want to make other people feel loved and important. And I want to be a part of something really important. I think part of my intentions with doing the podcast is to do all of those things. One, I love talking about myself, like you can probably tell, and like I've clearly explained. I love explaining who I am and what I believe, and sharing those things with people who either feel the same or feel different or don't know how they feel. I love invoking or stimulating people's minds and getting them thinking about different things or supporting them in their current beliefs and their ideas. So I love doing this podcast for myself. I also love getting other people involved and also supporting people that are struggling, like I've explained. I think this is my best effort at reaching as many people as I can and supporting them the best that I can. I know, I just know that I have gone through hard things and other people are going through more difficult things, and I want to be a part of. I want to help them. I want to support them. I want to be a part of something that's better than me, something that's bigger than me, and show my God. I don't know how to fucking express it, but I know that I want to help other people feel happy, be comfortable, all of those things. But I'm not dying to share my Cook's Burps anymore, but that's what I've got. So I really want to just a little bit more insight on who I am and what I believe. I don't know if there is anything beyond this life. I don't know, and I'm convinced that nobody really knows. I think the people that say they do know are the people that have convinced themselves that there is. I don't know. That's my opinion because of my own experience. I've never been convinced that there's life after death or that there's spirits after death or anything like that. I'm not convinced of it. So I want to leave the best impression on as many people as I can now. So so I can die knowing I've done all that I could. Not because I want the recognition or any kind of glory, but because it's a satisfaction goal that I want to achieve. I want to be able to I just want to die knowing that I didn't fucking waste my time. I don't want to waste my time. So that's probably the biggest that's probably one of the biggest goals I have out of this. And I just don't know how else to do it. I don't know how else to reach a great amount of people. I know there's always bigger organizations than me that I could be a part of, but I love doing this on my own and being me, exposing myself and being a vulnerable person. I think people, at least the people that I know, can relate to somebody that they know. I think it's definitely more intimate and more it's more personal when somebody I know and love and care about is struggling and can come to me with confidence instead of me being a part of another organization, a bigger organization, and still offering the same support to strangers, but the intimacy is different. I love being a part of my community. I want to be a part of the people around me and support the people that I see and that I talk to and that I love. So this really is probably the biggest goal that I have, and it's probably the leading influence and purpose for this podcast. I have thoroughly enjoyed bullshitting my way through 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 13 seconds of this podcast, all accompanied with the Cook's Burps. I love this. I think I have a personality for being obnoxious and kind of being in people's face and having strong opinions. So I'm comfortable doing this. And I'm also I'm less comfortable. Let's see. I have not experienced an insane amount of opposition or rejection yet. So I am nervous for where this will go and the direction this will take, for sure, and for the response that I will get from loved ones, friends, and family. But I am confident enough in the person that I am and the decisions I make and with my intentions that I will meet that opposition head on, and I'll meet it with integrity and honesty and with an open mind. Because even though I have very strong opinions with religion and with my goals and with my relationships, I think I'm a very untraditional. I definitely have a very untraditional mindset, and I look at things differently than most people. I think I've already kind of explained, and it makes me happy to do that. But I also know that comes with some complications. So I'm willing to meet those objections head on with my friends and family, and totally level with everybody that's willing to talk to me or to reason with me. And I don't know the best way to reach out to people. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and I've got a lot of messages on Instagram. That's where most of my traffic has been. I think that's where I'm the most active too, which is probably for that reason. But I don't know if do you want my email? Do you want my phone number? Do you want my fucking street address and come see me? I would love to chat. Do you want to go to lunch sometime Do you want to go to dinner? Do you want to have breakfast? Fucking, do you want to go to the club at 2 a.m.? I'll meet you anywhere. I am a very open person. I'll do whatever. I will not meet you at church to talk about church, but I will meet you probably anywhere else to talk about church. Does that sound fair? I think that's reasonable. I'm gonna wrap this up. 1 hour, 39 minutes, 59 seconds. This is, let's see. It is October 29th, 2019. It's 11:52. I've had a really good time. Again, if you've heard something that is raised questions for me, or if you have questions that you want me to talk about, like let's say you want to know more about my mission experience, then ask me about my mission experience. If you want me to address something, I'm just going back to religion because it's probably the biggest topic that I want to cover. If you have church policy issues, or if you have doctrinal questions you want me to look into and to research, I want to be a reliable source for truth and for information. I'm not an excellent researcher or writer, but I would definitely respect anybody with any questions that they have. Even if you are like a strong believing Mormon and you want me to understand a perspective, you have information you want to share with me, then fucking send it my way. I want to hear it. I want to hear everything you have to say. I am an open-minded person, but I definitely have strong opinions. I have strong beliefs. I'm definitely I have an aggressive personality. So send me the information or the questions that you have. I'll do my best to respond, and I would love to have more guests on this. I don't want this to always be me talking to nobody. Well, I'm talking to you, but talking in an empty room, looking at my computer screen. I'd love to look at people and relate to people. Even if I don't want to do Skype, I'd rather do something in person. But if you want to Skype in, we can figure something out. Anyway, now it's 11:54. It's still October 29th, and I had a great time. If you stuck this out with me through this long, then I couldn't be more grateful. I hope now I have to be that person where I'm asking you to subscribe to my iTunes page, subscribe to my Spotify page, and leave comments, leave reviews, share the page, share with your friends and family. Let everybody know that I'm not trying to attack anybody, but I am trying to build a more open community with the people that we love and the people that we know. I want to be engaged in our differences, not diverse because of our differences. I want people to come together to collaborate and bring ideas to the table and be excited about the people that we are, even though we have our differences in beliefs, in principle, in policy. We can have differences and still live unique and harmonious lives together in a community. Whether this community will reach out to just my friends and family, because they're the best support that I have right now, or whether this will go out to more people that I don't know. I want to bring everybody in together and show. I want to be the best person that I can be for everybody else, and have everyone be the same for each other. So now it's 11:56, and I'm officially going to close this out. Thanks so much for listening.